you, Mayor. We're pleased to have the game out in Glendale. The two gentlemen to my left, you know very well in their statistics, so I'll just give you a little bit of the tail of the tape for the game itself. Clemson brings a 28-game winning streak into Saturday night, the longest in the nation, followed by number 2, Ohio State has a 19-game win streak. We have the number 1 scoring offense in Ohio State and the number 4 scoring offense in Clemson. Battling that is the number 1 scoring defense in Clemson, the number 3 scoring defense in Ohio State. And the top 2 teams in total defense, Clemson number 1 and Ohio State number 2. So we're going to hear some opening statements from these two coaches, and then we'll get into some questions and answers, and then we'll take those photos. So, Coach Sweeney, why don't you lead us off with an opening statement?
Okay, ditto from everything I said yesterday. We're back. Well, just we've had a great week. First of all, it's been a good week for us. Our guys have been great at practice. The hotel's been awesome. The hospitality's been great. Everybody here that's associated with the Fiesta Bowl has been tremendous, just above and beyond, and making sure that we have everything we need to be able to function just as we would back at home. So it's been a great week. I think our guys have been able to have a good balance of really having some fun and enjoying the experience, but at the same time being locked in on what we got to do to have a chance in this game. So we're excited about it. There's really not much else to say. It hasn't been said. I mean, this is 2 great teams, and just a tremendous amount of respect for Ohio State. As I said earlier, kind of mirror images of each other in so many ways, and you can tell that both teams like each other, play for each other, believe in themselves and their teammates, and I think that really resonates, on film. So. Should be a heck of a game, and we're all looking forward to great competition.
Coach Day brings the Ohio State Buckeyes here for the 9th time. That's the most appearances by any school in Fiesta Bowl history. Coach Day.
Yeah, I just echo what Coach Sweeney said. This has been a really great week for our guys. We've had a great week of practice, and everybody at the Fiesta Bowl has been wonderful just in terms of their hospitality. And again, being away for the holidays for some of our younger guys, the way that these guys have taken care of us this week has really made it great. And then anytime you get closer to the game, it's like, let's bring the game on. And I know our guys are getting ready. They're getting tired of practicing, even though this has been a unique preparation in that it was almost like a bye week more than it was preparation for a bowl game because of the quick turnaround. And, it's an honor to play a team like Clemson that has really set the standard here the last couple of years, defending national champs, 28-game winning streak. With talent, a combination of talent and coaching is some of the best in the country. And so, our guys know that, they recognize that, and had a great week of practice. And again, looking forward to a great game on Saturday.
Great, thank you. We'll now open up for questions. We have mic runners on either side. When we come to you, if you could please identify yourself and identify who the question is directed towards. Start with Bill right there.
Bill, we're going to in the comments this past. For Dabo, you've been here 5 straight times in the playoff. Does this game, because 2 13-0 teams is dominating, both teams have been, does this almost feel like a national championship caliber game?
Well, it is a national championship game, because if you don't win it, you ain't going to the national championship. So that's just the way every game is, really, to be honest with you. And we really take that approach every week. We feel like we've been in playoff football all year. It's been a best of 1 every single week for us, every week, all year. So this is just, this one is truly, if you win this one, you get to go to the national championship. So it's what it is. And, at this stage, you can put the names in a hat and throw them around. I mean, these are all great teams, and anybody can beat anybody. I mean, the margin for error is very small. So just so happens that you've got 2 undefeated conference champions battling it out, and that have had special years. And again, built very similar. Both teams will run the ball. Both teams have great dynamic playmaking quarterbacks and running backs and receivers, built in the trenches. So complete teams, and that they're really good on offense and defense. So there's just this is a pretty special matchup, and these type of games usually come down to a few plays.
Front row.
Austin Ward, Letterman Road. Ryan, I think the availability report is going to be pretty clean for you a little bit later today. beyond just the on-field impact, if you've got the full complement available, is there a mental boost for a coach or the players knowing that you have everybody out there?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think at this time of the year, coming off of those 3 games at the end of the year, it was great to have a little bit of a break to catch our breath, but it is great to have everybody healthy, and that means a lot late in the season. It's been a unique year that way, where we were able to get the guys some rest early in the season, but then we had that tough run down the stretch, and that's really where it became March Madness, kind of like Coach was talking about for us. Once that Penn State game hit, it was March Madness. You lose one of those games, you're going home, and here we are now. But it was great to get rest and have those guys ready to go.
We'll go left side.
Coach Day, Trevor Gross, CFB.com. You had a couple of Heisman finalists, and Coach Sweeney and Coach Saban have both told me in the past that they'd be all for moving the voting for the Heisman until after all the games have been played. Just wondering if that's something that you would advocate, and if so, why?
Well, I just think that the whole script hasn't been written yet, and so in games, especially like this, it's about players. It's not about plays, and these guys have an opportunity to put their best foot forward in the biggest stage there is. I think you're making a decision without a full complement of what they've done in their body of work. So I would agree with that. I think it'd be great to see what happens throughout this playoff, and then make the decision from there.
We'll go Pete.
Pete Thamel from Yahoo. 2 questions about Coach Venables. One, can you give us a sense of just how much he needed to change the defense this year with the personnel he lost, and kind of change the identity, installing some of the 3-down stuff in the spring? And then the second part would be, can you give us a window into him as a defensive play caller, and what it's like on the headset, and why he's become such a master at that?
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say we changed our identity. I think we're still true to who we are and have always been at our core, but I think every year as a coach, you have to evaluate and put what your strengths are, and then put your team in the best possible position to be successful. And I think, especially early for us, we got a lot of guys that grew up front. I mean, just very, very little experience in our defensive line coming back. But yet, as I said in August, I felt like this could be the best back 7 that we've had. And so that was our strength. And so we just kind of tinkered with it a little bit and did some studying. And really, the guys bought into it. And then with a guy like Isaiah Simmons and being able to do multiple things with him, because obviously, he can cover, he can stop the run, he can rush the passer. I mean, he's just a very dynamic guy. Kind of gave us a little bit of flexibility, and so it just gave us. So I think that's kind of been what's behind it. I think you'll see us a little different next year because we're going to be built a little differently next year. And then same thing as far as just play calling. I mean, he prepares very well. He's very detailed. And Brent, if he was sitting here, first thing he'd say, he's got an incredible staff. We've got a great staff, and these guys all work really, really hard together. There's great synergy in the room, and you play the game through the week. I think he does probably as good a job as anybody I've ever been around at doing that. He really truly plays the game throughout the week, and then when we get into the game, he just he doesn't spend a lot of time on his call sheet. He's just got a great feel. He's got great instincts for the game, and at the end of the day, he trusts our players. And we put the work in during the week, and as Ron just said, it's not about calls or plays, it's about players. And so he does a good job of putting them in position to have a chance to be successful. And then it's up to them to execute at a high level. But got a great staff that do an awesome job of teaching every single day.
We'll go far right here, coaches.
TigerNet.com. Coach Sweeney, you said a decade ago that Clemson was about to embark on the greatest decade in history at Clemson. So as this decade comes to a close and you're ready to embark on your own, do you have a prediction for the next decade, or what would you say we need to be looking for?
Yeah, I would say my prediction is the best is yet to come, as I always say, because that's just what I believe. I believe the best is always yet to come, and just my mindset. It is kind of crazy though to think that today's our last Friday practice of this decade. We've had a lot of Friday practices since 2010, and a lot of guys have come and gone. And man, I'm just glad I'm still here. There's been probably a lot of money bet on me not being here back in 2010, but we're here, and just grateful and blessed to see this decade come to an end, and next time we get out on the field, regardless of what happens in this game, it'll be a new decade in 2020, and look forward to the next 10 years. So ask me that question in 10 years. It'll be fun to review.
Yeah, Ryan Day, this is Tim Lake, Letterman Row. 3 quickies. Quick update on Justin Fields, how is he?
Great.
Yeah. Number two, Jonah Jackson. As you look back on it now, how key was his transfer to making that offensive line what it is? And number 3, do you look forward to sort of this chess match with Brent Vittles?
So the first one was what, Justin?
Yeah.
He's doing great. The second one? Jonah?
Jonah Jackson.
Jonah's been great. Jonah was just the perfect guy at the right time in that room. He's come in with a professionalism. It's hard to walk into a room with such pride, as the offensive line room at Ohio State. So to walk in as a 5th-year senior, the way he handled himself was really great. And the way that, Coach Stud took him into that room, and that whole room embraced him just been tremendous. And, I think our offensive line this year has come together stronger than an offensive line has had in a long time that I've seen. And he's been a big part of that, even in his short time here. And then, Coach Venables obviously has been one of the best play callers and big game defensive coordinators in the last decade. And so, it's going to be a challenge. But, again, if you want to go win the national title, you got to go against the best. And, I know he's going to have those guys ready. They're coming over the walls in every single direction you can imagine. But, again, we've had a great week of practice, and so we're just going to have to adjust as the game goes on.
Carson Field, Arizona PBS. Coach Day, this is your first time coaching in a game where Ohio State has a rich history. How important is continuing that winning tradition for recruiting in Arizona and just the program in general?
Well, there's everything's at stake, so there's just a lot of reasons why, and we try not to focus on any of those things. It's a one game season right now, March Madness mentality, and you just got to go. And you can't worry about those things because they don't matter. What matters is today and preparing the best we can to get ready to play tomorrow. And that's all you can focus on, is being in the moment right now, and then you go from there.
Dabo, Billy Witz with the New York Times. All 4 of these teams in the playoffs, they don't punt the ball very often, and I'm just wondering if you think that that's going to be a little bit more of a factor for you guys than it's been at any point this season. And also, Will Spires has quite a bit of baseball history in his family and threw a real nice ball on a fake punt a couple of years ago. I'm wondering if he reminds you of his ability to throw it all.
Yeah, I think we're planning first punt is going to be a fake. We've been working the double, triple, reverse, pitch back and will, throw down the field. Our timing's gotten better over the couple of weeks, so I'm sorry, Coach Dave's right there. Now, you know what? I honestly, in a game like this, the punt is one of the best offensive plays in the game. There's nothing wrong with a punt. Field position is critical in games like this. It's the hidden yardage. It's a game within a game, and our Will's done a great job for us this year. And I think sometimes people they want us to have to flip the field. We don't get an opportunity to flip the field a lot, because most of the time we move the ball and got a first down or 2, and most of our punts are going in, and he does an amazing job of pinning people deep. He really does. But in games like this, there are some times where you're asked to have to flip the field, and I think that's going to be a key part of creating some good field position for the team, and offensively, truly ending every drive with a kick. So take care of the ball, and let's not try to force things. And there's nothing wrong with, hey, it's not there. Listen, let's be smart. Let's punt the ball and let's play good defense and try to win that battle, that field position battle. So it's definitely in games like this critical when you have teams that aren't used to being stopped. And I think I don't think both teams will go out there and score 60 points. This is probably going to be a big time defensive battle. But certainly the punting game will be critical.
Second row on the left here.
Jeff Snook. Dabo, you've always been great at college football history, the big perspective. Can you just summarize how this year might have been made for the playoff? The 4 teams are 51-1, 3 13-0 conference championship. And the old days, they go to the road, sugar and orange, but this is what the playoff was made for. Can you just put that into words?
Yeah, and everybody go do all that, and then everybody ooh and ah, and they vote a champion. You don't vote for it anymore. You got to earn this one. So I think it's pretty cool. And if you think about it, you go back to, there's been a lot of arguments over the years with, as an Alabama guy, growing up in Alabama, I think it was the one, I think it might have been 66, I can't remember. Alabama people still mad about that, and Notre Dame's probably mad about a couple, and some other teams probably mad about some where they didn't get voted in. And even I think back then, they even voted some national champions before bowl games, which is crazy. But anyway, it'd be pretty cool to be able to go back in time and take some of those teams, get the top 4, and kind of do the playoff. So that's what we have. We have a really cool setup in college football, in that, me personally, I'm not for expansion of the playoffs. And a lot of people will say, well, heck, that's because y'all are in it every year. And I'm like, well, if we can get in it in 4, surely we can get in it with 8. It's not about that. It's not whether we get in it or not. I just like the tradition of bowl games. I love seeing some of these teams get to celebrate the finish of their season, winning a bowl and getting the experience. There's 130 teams. I mean, if there were 32 teams, it'd be different. But you got 130 teams, and not everybody's going to win the national championship. But I think the committee has gotten it right since they've started this. I think they've gotten 4 great teams, and I think the best team has won every single year, and it's been played out on the field, and I think it's been awesome. So this particular year, 4 great teams that earn the opportunity to be here, and it's fun because, again, you don't vote on it. You vote on a lot of things. There's a lot of things that get voted on out there, but you got to earn this, and you got to earn it on the field, and it all comes down to those 4 quarters.
For both of you, Steve Hellwagen with 24/7 Sports, you guys played your championship games on December the 7th, and I assume if they told you you were going to play this game on December the 8th, you would have been there because it means so much. But just how difficult has this 3-week turnaround been in your heart and in your mind? Don't you think that the semifinals of the college football playoff should always be played on January the 1st, regardless, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever it is? Isn't that when this should be played? What's your thought about that? And would that make life simpler for you guys trying to execute this turnaround?
Well, for me, I would say yes. I would much prefer it to be on January the 1st. Just have consistency in that. And I've done that. I think we played on the first one. Maybe it was the 31st. I can't remember which one it was. But I personally like being able to be home for Christmas and head out on the 26th and have your bowl prep. That's, to me, preferable. But as you said, whatever they say, we'll do whatever we need to do. But I would love that. I know that the schedule, the NFL or whatever, I don't know what all dictates all that stuff, but this year's been a little different because of the way it was laid out, and that the national championship, there's a bye week this year. That's another difference that the teams are going to have to manage in preparation for that, because it's a little unique. But the turnaround was the same for everybody. I think had there been a team that didn't play in a championship game, that would have been a little different. But all of us played in these games, and so we had the same amount of time. I think the bigger challenge was for the players because they didn't get as much time off, and then just usually in recruiting, we've had a couple of weeks to go recruit, and we really only had a week. So, you know, it just was compressed for sure, but we, as he said, we kind of, it's almost like it's a little longer open date as opposed to bowl prep. But if I had my vote, I would say play them on first and adjust everything else from there.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Same thing. I'd like it to be on January 1st and keep it consistent. This has been a unique preparation, but it's been the same for both teams. And I do think, you know, coming off of a long season, coming off of the championship game, it was a challenge to get our guys, you know, rest enough and then prepare to play this bowl game. But it was the same for both teams, and you know, it is what it is. And again, it's kind of over my pay grade in terms of you know, making decisions on this. But I would say that playing the game on January 1st would be nice, just to keep a tradition going.
Go far left, Doug.
Doug Lemery, sir, from Cleveland.com. For Ryan, we know how good the Ohio State football program has been for the last several years. Playing now the defending national champion, Ohio State has not won a playoff game since 2014. I know it's not what you're concerned about, but how do you think the college football world looks at Ohio State right now? And with an opportunity like this, you guys have reached this point to play a team like Clemson. What do you think it would do for Ohio State football to win a game like this?
Well, I know that we're always in the conversation year in and year out, and have been since it started. And you know what everyone's opinion is right now doesn't matter. What matters is Saturday night. You know, when the game's over. You know, when there's a lot of things that lead up to a game like this. There's a lot of hype that comes into it, but what matters is how we play. And you know, we've had one heck of a year. This team has done a great job, and you know, some of the things that have happened in the past really have nothing to do with this team, with this coaching staff. So we just focus on doing everything we can to play a great game, and we go from there. But we're going against great teams, and it's an honor to be part of the Final Four. And again, the focus is just playing well on Saturday night.
Thank you, Coach Day. Coach Sweeney, we appreciate your time this morning. What we're going to do is we're going to go to the left on the trophy. We'll start again with the photographers and still photographers. You can stay behind the white line, and then we'll bring the videographers in for photos. And following that, we'll have ESPN